This is episode 77 of Where My Killer Tape At. This is the final episode of season 4. We will be returning in September, but almost didn't do this episode, and I'm explaining to you a little bit why. We're going to talk about Dayton Strong. We are going to talk about the health segment. Talk about white supremacy. We're going to talk about the Dayton shooting, how I feel about it. I'm really be real upset, pretty angry. I'm still angry. We talk about why spanking is abuse. And we're going to do a review of the Amazon Prime show, The Boys. So definitely, let's check it out. Let's do this. Where my killer tape at, B? For episode 77 of Where My Killer Tape At, I had to really think about it. It is a season finale. We had some wild things happen here in our wonderful city. And I didn't want to leave season 4 on a somber note. But, I felt like we got to talk about some things. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But if, I just don't want to leave on a bad note, but I'm going to leave on a sour note. Because we got some things that we got to take care of. I thought about not even doing an episode, but got to get it in. So bear with me on this one, party people. Thank you. It's all a game. It's all a game. Just like being a vegan, a lot of people assume that I am a Democrat. I'm left wing. I'm extreme left though. I'm a socialist. So when I was young, and when I say young, I'm going to say about 18, 19 years old, the Democratic Party had my heart. But I was disillusioned with them very early in the game. I actually used to work for the Democratic Party when I lived in the Bronx. So that's another story. But I'm looking at the presidential election and politics in the United States always bugged me out because the emphasis is always on the presidential election, and usually the midterm elections or local elections are often ignored. And I get it because when you're doing something locally or regionally, it doesn't have the same budget as national elections, right? When they put, millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars into those things. So it's a circus. It's always been a circus to me. And it also bothers me, and I don't want to sound elitist, how all of a sudden everybody's political in this time. Everybody has political commentary when the other 3 years I don't hear nothing from them. So it's fucking frustrating as fuck. I can understand why a lot of people choose not to vote. We've talked about this before on this podcast. But when you look at these debates, they're just a fucking circus. You got 20 motherfuckers up there. It makes for good television, I guess, because you get a chance to see people diss each other. It's kind of it reminds me of those MC battles where they don't use any music and everybody just battles line per line instead of just doing a whole verse. It's good for sound bites. It's good to be yo, this dude is a dope battle rapper when he only has 1 or 2 lines. And it's frustrating to see it. But again, I guess it makes for good television. But once again, the Democratic Party has always been lackluster. I mean, to become president of the United States, with the exception of at 45, you gotta usually be middle of the road. And you might, if you're a Democrat, you lean left, and if you're a Republican, you just lean right. But you're usually middle of the road, even if previously you was hardcore right winger or hardcore left. But I know with me, and I can go back and forth with it, but I'm, like I said, I'm extreme left, so I don't think there's any candidate that'll satisfy me. I am feeling Elizabeth Warren with universal health care and with her idea of having, free college and ending college debt. I'm feeling that, because that directly affects me and people of my generation. But other than that, it's kind of I don't even watch it because it's, there's probably some candidates there that actually have some things to say but you'll never hear it because, But at the same time, you got people like Marianne Williamson, Marianne Williams, the one that self-help person, that self-help guru. I can't Marianne Williamson, and she's somebody that like, why are you even up there? So it's a fucking joke, and it's sad that this is where we at. But then again, politics have been detrimental to American politics have been detrimental to black and brown people. So there you have it.
Yeah. I think Prince should run first. I think Prince should run first.
About a week ago, like it was a late Saturday night, we had a shooting in my city. About maybe a couple hours, about maybe 14 hours after the El Paso shooting. So, shit. I thought at this point I wouldn't be mad about it, but I'm still fucking outraged. I'm still processing shit. Like, shout out to the McNichols family. Word up. Fuck. Like, like the Oregon district, like everybody goes there. Like everybody, like out of towners, relatives, people visiting, people go there for their 21st birthday. There's 2 tattoo parlors there. People get their first tattoo there. People go, the bars are so close to each other. People go bar hopping. You know what I mean? It's a relatively safe place. Like when you go, it's actually the safest place in the city. That's actually like when Mayor Nan Whaley said it's a safe place in the city. She was not lying. Statistically, it is the safest place in the city. I mean, it's one of those places where no matter what time of night you go and you walk down the street, the patios where people are at, they wave at you. You know what I mean? Like to be honest, I ain't never seen nobody beef down there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I just ain't never seen it. Where I've been other places throughout anywhere else I've been, cats be drunk, they be beefing and stuff like that. So it's a relatively safe place, you know what I mean? And for that to happen there, and let me just say this, man, it could happen anywhere, man. You could be at Walmart, you could be at church, you know what I mean? And some idiot with a gun, particularly a white male, usually will come in and shoot the place up. And it's scary, man. It really, really is scary. Like, what do we do from here? And let me just say this, man. I know people always talk about Sandy Hook, but after Sandy Hook, I knew that white people ain't give a fuck. And I know people are like, oh, don't point fingers. Nah, fuck that, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, white people don't give a fuck. Like, all the babies got killed, and you got motherfuckers out here saying that's a conspiracy theory. Like, y'all, I swear to God, yo, like, that shit blows my fucking mind. And I knew right then and there that if killing white babies doesn't change the hearts and minds of white folks, ain't nothing gonna change them, man. Remember that during the Obama administration, because they've been doing this shit before 45. All right, they've been doing it before Trump came around. When Obama was elected, the purchase of weapons in the United States increased like exponentially, and continues to increase. Right? I think what they say now there's like more guns than people in the United States. Like, that shit is fucking crazy, man. And I think I saw a report. I gotta find it. I saw a report where they were saying that like 3% of American citizens own more guns than the rest of the country. Like, that shit is crazy, B. Why am I outraged? Right? Because this motherfucker, I'm not even gonna name his name. You know what I mean? This motherfucker ordered online. He ordered a 100 drum magazine. You know what the fuck that shit is? They don't even use that shit in the movies, B. Like, it's a drum that holds 100 bullets. You know what I mean? Like, he ordered this shit online, right? This motherfucker's not even a hunter, right? But there was no red flags, right? Like I know right now, Governor DeWine of Ohio was like, oh, we're gonna do these red flag laws. Fuck you, B. Because this dude ain't had no criminal record. You know what I mean? This dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know that he was diagnosed with depression. But that shit never came up in any of the stuff, right? Even though he was kicked out of school, he was suspended for school for threatening to kill people, and he had a rape list. You know what I mean? Like, damn, the more I learn about this motherfucker, the more angry I get. Anyway, just this simple shit where he ordered this thing online. Nobody was like, why this motherfucker ordering this shit, right? In this climate, in this day and age, right? In this climate where motherfuckers is just running up and shooting everybody, right? White people, white males, I'm running up and shooting everybody. Nobody was like, why the fuck is he ordering this, right? It gets sent to a local gun shop, right? They still haven't named who that motherfucker was, right? And he or she or whoever the fuck runs this shit is not saying, why is this person ordering this? You know, like, I don't, you know, like, I want to imagine the conversation that they had, because there had to be some kind of conversation. You know what I mean? Like, this, why are you ordering this, B? You a young cat, you know what I mean? Not military, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? But there's, you know, like there's so much, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Like, that shit is unfucking believable, man. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, that shit is unfucking believable. And shit is crazy to me. Like, shit is crazy to me, right? Like, let me just say this. When you go to the Oregon district, any time of the day you go there, there's always a cop car on one end. It's a small cut. It's a few blocks. I want to say it's like 4 blocks. And they're like, I'm from New York City, so a block is long as fuck. But here, blocks are really short. You could probably walk from one end of the Oregon district to the other end in about 3.5 minutes. And you can actually see, like, it's a small walk. You can see everything. So, like, there's usually a police truck on one end and a police truck on the other end. There's an underpass before you get into the Oregon district. When you're coming in from the west side, there's an underpass. So there's a cop car on that side as well. So that's why they were able to respond pretty quickly to that situation. So if it was anywhere else, it probably wouldn't have went down like that. So still outraged, man. I'm still processing. I don't really know. I'm just running my mouth right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. And let me say this, man. I just fuck, man. Like, this discussion about gun control, like, the shit got to be couched differently, man. And there has to be at least there has to be at least a ban on assault weapons. They fucking fuck. Like, there has to be. Like, there's no way around this shit. And I know I seen motherfuckers say, well, you know, they'll use a handgun. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or they come out with a, like, that's semantics, B. Like that is fucking semantics. Like, this dude shot 9 people in less than 30 seconds, man. And he wounded 27 others. I mean, motherfuckers like this. He shot 9 people and he wounded 27 others in less than 30 seconds, bro. You know what I mean? If he got into that club, because he didn't get into the club, he killed the people, shot the people in the patio. If he got in that club, you know what I mean? With that shit, 100 rounds. This shit, we be talking a different story right now. Like, shit will be fucking different, right? So, like, I know I'm mad, I know. But it has to be. That's the only, you have to ban assault weapon. Like, why do you need that shit? Who the fuck you hunting? Like, who are you coming after with that shit? You know what I mean? Homie that shot the church, you know what I mean, in South Carolina, that dude, you know what I mean? He had like what? It was like 3,000 rounds of ammunition. No red fucking flags. Nobody was like, yo, B, what are you doing with that? Like this is the shit that I'm talking about. Like, it has to be. We gotta think this shit. We gotta do this shit logically. Like, these are babies, man. These are people. These are human beings. These are people with families. These are productive citizens of fucking our community, man. And you got these scumbags coming out here doing that shit. Like, we can't sit here in good conscience and try to debate this shit. Like, you feel me? Like, we can't sit here with a straight face and then try to front and be like it's something else, man. You know what I mean? Other countries, other developed countries, they don't have these fucking problems, man. Japan doesn't have these fucking problems. In Japan, they got like the highest rates of suicide, and they got like, they watch these, you ever watch some wild demonic shit, B. And they play all kinds of video games over there. That shit is like the capital of video games. And they don't got these fucking problems, man. Like, we really gotta look at this shit, like, for real, and really look at it, like, but we can't be fucking around. We can't be debating. Shit gotta change, man. Like, I could go on and on, man, and it's frustrating because we have these same arguments and it goes back and forth, you know, gun control and fucking the Second Amendment. Like, what the fuck, B? Like, y'all motherfuckers ain't out here hunting, B. Like, what is you talking about? B, I'm a hugger, man. I love to hug people. You know, with consent. You know, I get their consent. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not gonna go down there and hug people, man. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that shit. Oh, the shit irks me, and it's not because it's because I'm mad, but it's because like white people, man. What the fuck, yo? Like, when y'all gonna talk to y'all peoples about white supremacy? When y'all gonna talk about that shit? White male angst. When y'all gonna talk about that shit? Like, it's easy for y'all to come around and be like, oh, let's piece everything out, hug, end hate, love each other. And y'all not really doing that shit right. Y'all not doing that shit right, man. Y'all not talking to y'all kids about that. Y'all not talking about your aunts and uncles. You know, and I'm not even talking about the motherfuckers that voted for 45. I'm not even talking about that shit. Just like, y'all always talk about how Thanksgiving is hard for y'all, but we dying out here, man. Y'all killing us, man. Not just with the people that are shooting us, but also like, not just with police brutality, but also with racist policies, with gentrification, all that shit. Like, all that shit is connected, B. Like, y'all not, and it's hard, like, to really, like, y'all motherfuckers want to be allies, then be allies, man. Then do the fucking work, man. Talk to your peoples, man. There's this scene in this movie called Panther, right? The one that was directed by Melvin Van Peebles, came out a while ago. It was actually a pretty dope movie. And there's a scene where Huey and is like, and Huey talks about this in Revolutionary Suicide, so it's not like some shit that they made up. And Bobby Seale talks about it in Seize the Time too. And there's a scene where, they out there selling those mile books and stuff like that to make money to buy guns and stuff. And these white kids walk up to Huey and they're like, yo, you want to join the Black Panther Party? And he was like, yo, that's dope. Thank you. But what you need to do is you need to go into y'all communities and you need to educate y'all people on how the power structure works. And I was like, word, you know what I mean? And I've been on that tip ever since, like, and I just thought that was probably one of the most powerful points of that movie, because y'all love doing that shit. Y'all love coming over here, helping us out or whatever, but y'all not really fighting a good fight. Y'all not taking the L's that y'all need to be taking. Because if we take an L, we done. You know what I mean? We seen our leaders martyred. We seen our leaders blocked up, thrown in jail, and the key thrown away. Shit. Most of the political prisoners in the United States are black. You know what I mean? So y'all gotta learn how to fucking really take an L. If that means cussing out your uncle at the dinner table, you know what I mean, during Thanksgiving, then so be the fuck it. Like, y'all gotta do that fucking work, man. Like, this is some real shit, man. And that's the only way this shit is gonna get fixed. I usually don't plead with y'all about that. I really don't. But I'm not hugging y'all motherfuckers this time. I'm just letting y'all know that it's not going down like that. We got to do a drive-by on white supremacy. Word is born. So I know this is a topic that gets brought up a lot. For those of you that know me, been a parent for a minute, man. Going on like 26 years now. And when I was a young parent, like when I was, I had my first child when I was 21. Do the math from there, right? And like, I kind of like, I used to spank. You know what I mean? Like, I used to spank. I mean, ain't no kind of motherfucker. I used to spank, right? Now, don't get me wrong. My oldest, he's a good kid. He's been on here, B-Boy Sabi. He's a good kid. So I think if I also do the math, and I'm not trying to downplay what I did. I'm not trying to like, it wasn't that bad. But I probably maybe spanked him maybe 4 times, if that. I could be even wrong on that number. I think I'd be rounded off to the nearest 5. I don't even, you know what I mean? But I did threaten him several times, and that's abuse. So, but we're not gonna talk about that. Again, not trying to downplay it, but threatening your child is abuse. You know what I'm saying? You threaten somebody that steals something from you. You threaten somebody in the street that's trying to start with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you threaten. But I don't even do that. But you shouldn't do that to your kids. But my daughter, when I had her, I was still young. And I'm gonna go ahead and say probably spanked her maybe, I don't know, not that many times either. So, but I did threaten her many times, and my middle son. But then at a certain age, I stopped doing all of that. Spanking is abuse. It is abuse. You can try to dice it and be like, oh, well, I'm spanking them, like I just hit them on the hand or whatever. Couple things, right? This idea that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child is not true. My babies turned out right. All 4 of my babies turned out really dope. They're really, really dope. I think a day does not go by when somebody tells me that one of my kids are amazing. Adults and children, you know what I mean? Like, I get it from everybody. So, I get kids that stop me in the street and they're like excited about my kids, about me being their parent, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild. It was a true story though. It happens all the time. But anyway, it is abuse, and I'm not trying to say that, like, if you spank your child, I'm not trying to say that you're a bad parent. And I think that's the issue. That's number 2, right? The issue is that we feel like if somebody tries to correct us or criticize us, when I say criticize, I mean constructively, right? That we're like, oh, I'm not a bad parent. Nobody's saying you a bad parent. No one is saying that. It's just, my mom's did it. My mom spanked us. And that's abuse. And, even she admits it. And she's old school. You know what I'm saying? She's almost 70. And she'll tell you that, that was a bad thing to do. And that's because what ended up happening is you become afraid of your parents. You shouldn't be afraid of your parents, especially the people that you love the most, right? They should be somebody you can depend on and lean on and come to when you need them. And if you're scared of them, chances are you won't do that. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to say kind of like one more thing, right? Like, this is how you got to look at it, right? And there was a time when society used to have what was called corporal punishment, right? Where they would take you publicly and they would flog you. You know what I'm saying? Usually the most savage of those places, right? But they, people were doing that, and there's some countries that still do it. But anyway, like, overall, if I'm at work and I steal something, you know what I'm saying? Like, I take something that's not mine. Like, I take something from the break room. You know what I'm saying? I get a write-up for that. And then, reprimand, verbal reprimand. I might get written up. In some places, you get terminated for that. They fire you. But they don't take you out in the break room and tie you up and spank you, right? They don't take you by the hand. When you get in trouble at work, they don't take you by the hand and slap you on the hand. You know what I'm saying? And my point is that that's just not real world consequences. And a lot of times we feel like, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. So I hate to use that term, but it doesn't, you know what I mean? And I remember like being spanked for every infraction, and that's not cool. So again, I'm not trying to indict parents. I know you're trying to do better. A really good book to read that really changed the way I parent was Salvation by Dr. Bell Hooks. And that really made me question why I spank, because it's rooted in white supremacy. I know it sounds far-fetched, but it is. But that's something that we should not do. And we should talk to our kids. We should really build with them and talk to them as much as possible, and build that relationship. A loving and nurturing relationship where love is transformative. And once you realize that that's what that is, you don't need to be spanking your child. Or I debated on whether I should do a review of The Boys on Amazon Prime, because it's violent, and I just, right now, violence has a sour taste in my mouth, and it really makes me question what I need to consume. You know what I mean? Especially from mentally, like, is it good for me? You know what I mean? But I'm a comic book head, and I've been reading comic books for most of my life. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to talk about the series. So they dropped The Boys. There's like 8 episodes on Amazon Prime, and it's written by Garth Ennis, and it was on Wildstorm before it went to Dynamite Entertainment. And it's one of me and my oldest, there's a lot of shit that we like, and we definitely like The Boys because we both like Garth Ennis, and he did The Preacher. So if you're watching The Preacher on FX, this is that dude, and he's not breaking any new ground with this story, because it is deconstructing the hero genre. And I want to point out that the late great Stan Lee said that comic books is the mythology of the United States of America, because the United States of America is a young country compared to other countries, and they really didn't have their own mythology. So like comic books are their mythology, right? Like when you look at Superman, he kind of like represents the American ideal. I don't agree with that, but that's what he does, right? And there's a character in The Boys who's supposed to be like Superman. He's a villain, and again, the series came out in 2006, 2007, and so I'm not really spoiling anything. I'm gonna try not to give you too much of a spoiler, but there is a character in there that's supposed to be like Superman, but he's just like, I wouldn't even say he's an asshole. He's just evil. Anyway, the comic book is uber violent. A lot of rape in the comic book. It's really like, again, it's a severe deconstruction. A lot of people are gonna say that it reminds them of the TV series. Reminds them of oh goddamn, that one book, not V for Vendetta, the other one that he did, Watchmen, which they're about to make an HBO series for. But anyway, that's like a deconstruction of the hero genre, and the comedian is a character that comes to mind when you think about all these characters, the quote unquote villains in The Boys. But also, the Boys are actually, you know, they're like a watch group. In the comic book, they're like a watch group that keeps the heroes in check, because the heroes are like they're human. They're human, so they do a lot of wild shit. They abuse their powers, and they hurt people. I'm gonna say this about couple things about the series. The series is a slow burn compared to the comic book, and also, which is usually the opposite. Usually the comic book would be a slow burn, and the adaptation for the television show is usually pretty fast. But this one is a slow burn, because in the comic book they get into the story of the Boys very quickly. And they also are using Compound V so they can deal with the heroes. Whereas in the TV show, they're forming the group slowly, and then you get to know them, and then they find out that all the heroes are being created by Compound V, which is just, that part is in the comic as well. But anyway, the story is centered around this gentleman by the name of Huey, and his fiance is killed by a superhero, and he's recruited by the Butcher, and I like who they picked for the Butcher. I really, really do. They Carl Urban, who's the fucking man, right? They picked him for this. He does a great fucking job. He's recruited by the Butcher, and he introduced them to Mother's Milk and everybody, and they pretty much keep an eye on the heroes, and every time they overstep their boundaries, they fuck them up. In the TV series, they're kind of like forming and trying to figure out what they're doing, and they already explained the Butcher's story quickly, whereas in the comic book you had to wait later on when they explained everything and they hashed it out. What's cool about this is just like Preacher, he ended the series a while ago, so you can always go back to read them things. And it's like I said, the comic book is uber violent. I like what they did in the TV series, so they toned down the violence. They give you more character development quickly, and it goes by very quickly. I don't know if Amazon Prime did this because they were worried about whether they were going to renew it for a second season. And I know people are going to compare it. I'm going to say this. When I first read this series, me and my oldest son, and it's funny, we said the same thing about Preacher. They will never make this into a TV show or a movie. And since then, I have eaten crow. And at least I said they probably won't make The Boys into a TV series. When they did Preacher, I said they'll never do The Boys. But somebody pointed out, I can't remember who said that Game of Thrones is kind of like the opener for a lot of this shit. So you're going to see a lot of shows like this where there's a lot of violence in it. Real quick, there is a rape scene in episode 1, so there's a trigger warning. But overall, I enjoyed it. I give it a B+. I appreciate that they toned down the violence. They don't break new ground. It's a deconstruction of the hero genre, and it really actually, I like that, because in the original storyline, it takes place in 2006, 2007, but this one they modernized it and they have social media. So I thought that was interesting spin, because they didn't have social media like the way we have it now back then, 12 years ago. So that's real interesting. But it makes you question not just the mythology and quote-unquote American ideals, but it also makes you question, social media, mainstream media. It also makes you question politics and how all that plays a part, which is all really, they question everything in there except social media in the original comic book series. So it really has the same tone. There's a lot of things that they took out. But I highly recommended it. Word.
Yes. The name of the game is light works. Night of the slips. The name of the game is light works.
For this health segment, I want to continue to talk about how we should not peg our health to our weight. I'm helping some people, matter of fact, lose weight now. Really, and I don't even want to say lose weight. I'm trying to help them into a better lifestyle when it comes to their diet and, you know, how they train. And the reason why I say that is because oftentimes what happens is I see a lot of people who they look at another individual and they will say, I want to look like this person. You know what I mean? And then when they don't get those results, they're not happy. And I know there's big business in that. There's big business in, you know, plastic surgery or whatever, to look like other people. And again, it's a lot of disappointment, a lot of dissatisfaction with a lot of people because they feel like if they're on a particular weight and I'm on a particular size, then I'm good. So what I tell a lot of people is, the first thing I tell people that I train with is that you got to be happy with who you are. You got to be happy with your body. I know some people are going to say to me, oh, you know, it's easy for you to say you're a small dude or whatever, you look good in all your clothes. Truly, and I acknowledge that. I definitely acknowledge that. But I notice that the real happy people in my life that are around me, they really don't sweat like how they look to other people. You know what I'm saying? They really, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not healthy. They are healthy. They take care of themselves and they have a quality of life that is something that I want to be like. You know what I'm saying? The standard that I want to reach. But I think the key is to a healthier lifestyle is being happy with who you are, physically as well as emotionally and mentally. And at the same time, I feel like if you are going to get into this lifestyle, the focus should be on making a better you. You know what I'm saying? Whether that means, you know, I want to be able to, you know, run 2 miles a day, or I want to be able to do 30 pull-ups, or, you know what I'm saying? Like those goals are what you want to reach for, and you have to work out for that. You have to, you know, change what you eat, how you train, etc., etc. But all of that comes from within, feeling good. You know what I mean? Like, I train all the time because I want to feel good. Not just look good, but I also want to feel good. And I know that for me, and you know, there's proof that, you know, that working out increases the dopamine levels, you know, all those pleasure hormones and stuff like that. I know it does it for me. I know, like, when I get up in the morning, those initial first 2 minutes, I'm still like in a daze, and part of me kind of like wants to go back to bed. But once I start training, I'm up. You know what I'm saying? There's no going back to bed for me at that point. So I kind of like want to encourage people to do the same. Like, find what you like. Of course, I always talk about that. I always preach that. Find what you like and then stick to it, because then it's not work. And then go hard. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think if the focus is on a better you versus trying to look like someone else, then I think you'll see better results and you'll be a lot more happier with where you at. And you'll probably continue to be that way. Word. Definitely want to give a shout out to the homie Shadow One for the last episode that she was on. I really appreciate you for coming through, especially it was at the last minute. So definitely want to give you a shout out. Want to give a shout out to the homeboy Nostalgic, dope MC from Cleveland. He's working on a project he's about to release, so good brother right there. Definitely want to give a shout out to the city of Dayton, # Dayton Strong. Man, this summer was, you know, spring, the end of spring, and the summer was like really hardcore for our city, but we still here, man. We gonna push through. Word. And finally, I want to give a shout out to the McNichols family, who lost their only son, TJ, in the shooting over at the Oregon district, man. This is to Mr. T and his wife, who's been like part of the family for several years, man. My heart goes out to you, and whatever you need, let me know what's up. Shit is real, man, and I feel your pain and I feel your anger, man. We riding with you. Word. And there you have it, party people. Episode 77 where my killer tape at. We will be gone for a couple of weeks. We'll be returning in September with episode 78. And just, I'm going to put in the show notes, I'm going to put the link to the YouTube channel, because all the episodes of Where My Killer Tape At, up to about, I want to say episode 65 or 66. So 1 through 65 to 66 will be on the YouTube channel. I'll put that on there. If you want to book me for a panel discussion or a workshop, let me know at my Gmail, DanTresOMI, DanTresOMI. And in the header, put booking. And then if you want to hit me up, you can hit us on the official Twitter page of When My Killer Takes Back Obi's Podcast, OMIS Podcast, or you can just hit me up on my personal Twitter, which is usually Liddy, right? At DanTresOMI, DanTresOMI. Thank y'all, man. Y'all some really dope people. Everything will be in the show notes. Peace.